Everyone, very good afternoon to all of you. Today, of this chapter, that is Unit 11, is about inventory management. So, in this subject, international logistics and supply chain management, the inventory management chapter has a special importance for learning perspective. And in this inventory management, we will discuss different concepts like the introduction about the inventory management, the purpose of the inventory. There are different types of inventory cost we will discuss. Then economic order quantity, continuous review system, materials requirement planning. Then we will discuss the distribution requirement planning. Then ABC inventory management and just-in-time system. These are the two important techniques of the inventory management we will discuss today. After completion of this chapter, all of you are able to understand all these above concepts and techniques. So let us start the unit 11, that is about inventory management. Inventory management, what do you think about that inventory management? Basically, it refers to the process of ordering, storing, tracking, and controlling a company's inventory. That means your stock. And this includes the managing the raw materials, components, and finished products, as well as in the warehousing and processing of such items. An inventory or stock is the any material on hand at a given particular time. It constitutes one of the most important elements of any system dealing with supply, manufacturing, distribution of goods and services. As you know, nowadays it is a challenging task of all the organizations how to maintain the inventory safely and manage it efficiently. So, to remove these flaws and to remove the obstacles of proper handling the inventories, the inventory management takes birth. And from the supply chain perspective, you can say inventory is any idle material resource of an enterprise awaiting for the future sales, use, or transformation. And it refers to the stocking of the raw materials, then it is in process, finished, packaging, tools, and equipment, spares, and others in order to meet an unexpected demand or distribution in future. As you know, in every business organization, to meet a proper demand and supply system, we should keep, we should properly manage the inventory management. Without managing the inventory properly, we cannot fulfill the objective of the organization, we cannot fulfill the objective of the customers or the consumers. So, inventory management has an impact on all business functions, particularly in operation, marketing, or finance. In anywhere, you can take just imagine if we have not proper stock, we have not sufficient inventory or stocks, then how we can meet the demand of the customer? Once you will fail the demand to fulfill the demand of the customer or consumer, do you think can your organization run efficiently in future? And in a competitive environment, it will be very difficult for any organization to survive. So, by taking all these points, the inventory management has a vital role in everywhere. Then, purpose of the inventory. What is that purpose? Before going to the purpose of inventory, from the introduction part, what you know, what is the definition of the inventory management? We can say the inventory management is the system companies use to source, store, and sell inventory, both raw materials and finished goods. And there are different key components of that inventories, like one is your stock tracking. What is that stock tracking? The monitoring the quantities of the products. Quantity of the products we have to monitor. Next is ordering. You have to know when to reorder the products. And another is warehousing. Proper storage and handling of the goods is required. in the warehouse. So another key component is forecasting. You can predict the future inventory need based on sales data. Yes or no? How you can predict? You have to take the track record of the past performance. Then inventory valuation. Inventory valuation also is required. Keeping the track of inventory value, you can use any methods like first in first out or last in first out, FIFO method, LIFO method, weighted average cost method for the valuing the inventories. And another key component is risk management. Here we can say managing the risk also like overstocking or stockouts. So here the key components, please remember, one is key components of the inventory management, one is your stock tracking, second is your ordering, third is your warehousing, then another is your forecasting, then inventory valuation, then risk management. These are the basic key components of the particular inventory management. And there are some popular methods are there like just in time. So inventory, what it indicates, just in time, the basic objective, inventory arrives only as needed. There should not be surplus of the inventory, there should not be scarcity or deficit of the inventory. So just in time objective is to inventory arrives only as needed. When it is needed, it will be available. Another method is economic order quantity. That is how to minimize the ordering and holding cost. This economic order quantity focuses. Another method is ABC analysis. That means ABC analysis means categorizing the inventory by importance point of view. A means for most valuable, C least valuable, B moderate value. So by this way we have to analyze the inventory or goods. Another method is doorstep shipping. No inventory held, orders are sent directly from supplier to the customer. So these methods we will discuss later in detail today. In this class we will discuss, but before that, let us know what are the different benefits of the good inventory management. Why it is necessary for a good inventory management. Basically, the good inventory management enables, it helps to reduce the cost. Which cost? We can say the storage cost, spoilage cost, insurance cost, it can reduce if you have a good inventory management system. Another thing, it improves the cash flow. Inventory management improves the cash flow. It may be cash inflows or outflows. Next benefit is it enhances the customer satisfaction by avoiding the stockouts. The customer can be satisfied. Boosts overall efficiency and scalability. So these are the different benefits of the good inventory management. So after this part, let us go to the purpose of inventory. What are the basic purpose of inventory? You know, inventory is defined as a stock of materials used to facilitate the production or to satisfy the customer demands. Inventory typically include the raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. So inventory stocks are located at various points in the production process with flows connecting one stock point to another. So one purpose is to protect the against uncertainties. You know, in every business world or in the business world, so many uncertainties are there. In materials management also, there are some uncertainties in supplies, demand, and lead time. So safety stocks are maintained in inventory to protect against these uncertainties. Second is to allow economic production and purchase. It is often economical to produce the materials in lots. In this case, a lot may be produced over a short period of time, and then no further production is done until the lot is nearly depleted. Another is to cover the anticipated changes in demand or supply. Because of uncertainty and fluctuation in the market, demand may change. So to meet an unexpected demand, extra inventory is kept to cover the changes in the demand or supply. So another purpose is to provide for transit. Transit inventories consist of the materials that are on their way from one point to another. And basically, these inventories are affected by the plant location decision and by the choice of carriers. Sometimes these inventories are called pipeline inventory as they are in the distribution pipeline. So let us recall what are the different purposes of the inventory. One is to protect against the uncertainties. Second is to allow economic production and purchase. Third is to cover anticipated changes in demand and supply. And fourth is to provide for transit. So these are the purpose of inventory. Now let us discuss about the types of inventory cost. There are so many costs involved in the inventory management. Among them, one is your item cost. What is that item cost? We can say this is the cost of buying or producing the individual inventory items. The item cost is usually expressed as a cost per unit multiplied by the quantity produced, procured on or produced. Sometimes the item cost is determined if enough units are purchased at one time. So what is ordering cost? It is another type of cost, ordering cost. The ordering cost is associated with ordering a batch or lot of items. Ordering cost does not depend on the number of items ordered. It is assigned to the entire batch. This cost includes the typing the purchase order, expediting the order, transportation cost, receiving cost, and so on. When the item is produced within the firm, there are also costs associated with the placing an order that are independent of the number of items produced. This so-called setup cost include the paperwork cost plus the cost required to set up the production equipment for a run. There are ways to reduce the setup cost, but often setup costs are considered as fixed. So these two costs we have discussed, that is, one is your item cost, another is your ordering cost. After that, another cost is there, that is about carrying cost. What is that carrying cost? The carrying cost or holding cost is associated with keeping items in inventory for a period of time. And here the holding cost is typically charged as a percentage of rupee value per unit time. For an example, a 10% annual holding cost means that it will cost 10% to hold 1 unit of inventory for a year. In real scenario, the holding cost typically range from 15 to 30% per year. Another simple example is carrying when newborn baby till the baby attains the age of 18 years. That means after 18 years, the baby is now adult. So holding cost would be all expenditure the parents incurs due to medical, education, etc. till 18 years. I think it is a practical example you can better understand. You can link with the carrying cost. And then another is cost of obsolescence, deterioration, and loss. The obsolescence cost should be assigned to items that have a high risk of becoming obsolete. The higher the risk, the higher the cost. And perishable products should be charged with the deterioration cost when the item deteriorates over time. For an example, packaged foods, fruits, and medicines, because it can be obsolete after some period. So there are some costs involved in this, that is known as your cost of obsolescence, deterioration, and loss. Another cost is stock out cost. The back ordering cost, we can say it is a back ordering cost. The stock out cost reflects the economic consequence of running out the stock. And there are two cases here. Suppose suppose items are back ordered or backlogged for the customer, and the customer waits until the material arrives. In this case, there may be some loss of future business associated with the cash back order because the customer had to wait. And these are the different costs involved in the inventory management. Let us know about the economic order quantity. Economic order quantity is an optimal quantity for minimizing the total material cost. That means that is ordering cost, carrying cost, stock out cost under various conditions. So the EOQ model tells the selection section describes the basic EOQ model. This is also known as a basic EOQ model. And there are the following assumptions and restrictions of the model on which the formula to calculate the EOQ is based. There is a formula on calculating the EOQ, economic order quantity. One is demand is known with the certainty and is constant over a time. There is no shortage cost is allowed without stock out, that is not allowed. No shortage is allowed. Lead time for the receipt of orders is constant. So, and the order quantity is received at once and instantaneously. So these are the things. And economic order quantity, basically it is a classic concept in inventory management. And it refers to the ideal order quantity a company should purchase to minimize the total cost associated with ordering and holding of the inventory. And the purpose of EOQ or economic order quantity is to find the right balance between ordering cost and holding cost. Ordering cost, here the cost every time you place an order, like shipping, fees, purchase orders, etc. But holding cost, these are the cost for storing unsold inventory like warehouse rent, insurance, spoilage, etc. And the formula is, we can say 2ds by h root over. And where here EOQ means your economic order quantity, and D stands for demand rate, that is units per year, A stands for ordering cost per order, H holding cost per unit per year. This is the formula, please remember 2ds by h root. And this is our example. Suppose annual demand is 10,000 units, ordering cost S is 500 per order, holding cost H 2 per unit per year. Then EOQ can find out 2 into 10,000 into 500 divided by 2 root, that will be 2,236. This means the company should order about 200 to 36 units each time to be most cost efficient. Now let us discuss about the continuous review system. That is about the continuous review system. And before going to the continuous review system, let us know about the importance of inventory management in today's organization. Importance of inventory management in today's organization. Then after that, we will go for the continuous review system. As we know, in today's fast-paced and competitive business environment, inventory management plays a critical role in ensuring the organization's success. And effective inventory management directly impacts a company's operational efficiency, customer satisfaction, and financial performance. So what the importance of the inventory management in today's business organizations of today's world? In a rapid competitive environment, in the era of LPG, the inventory management role has a very crucial. And number one is it ensures the optimal stock levels. What it does, it ensures optimal stock levels. That means it prevents the overstocking, which ties up capital and increase the storage cost. It avoids the stockouts, which can lead to total sales and unhappy customers. Third is balance supply with the demand more effectively. Number two, it improves the cash flow. Inventory is a major investment, and efficient management frees up the working capital, which reduces the unnecessary expenditure or excess inventory, leading to the better liquidity. Third is it enhances the customer satisfaction. You know, a proper inventory management enhances the customer satisfaction because timely available of the products leads to the faster fulfillment of the customer needs, customer orders, and maintains a consistent product supply, building customer trust and loyalty. Number 4 point or importance, we can see it boosts the operational efficiency. The proper inventory management boosts operational efficiency. It streamlines the order processing. How it occurs, how it is boost the operational efficiency. If the question comes to our mind, then we can say the streamless order processing and storage and distribution helps to boost the operational efficiency, which ultimately reduces the waste, spoilage, and obsolescence, especially in the industries dealing with the perishable or rapidly changing goods. We can say electronics or fashion designs, etc. Here it boosts the operational efficiency. Another is it facilitates the accurate forecasting and planning. It facilitates, and this provides the data that helps predict the future demand trends, supports better production planning, it procurement of strategies and sales promotions occurs in this proper inventory management or importance of the inventory management. Another thing, minimize the cost. You can say cut down storage, insurance and security cost by maintaining lean inventory, and in opposite side or in alternate, we can say it helps to negotiate better deals with the suppliers through the planned purchases. Next, it enhances the supply chain management. The inventory management enables the better coordination with the suppliers and logistic partners. It helps the companies respond quickly to supply chain disruption, which is very crucial post pandemic. It is no after COVID, or it is in the post pandemic, it has increased the role, and it strengthens the strategic decision making. Real time inventory data supports the strategic decisions on expansion, diversification, and new product launches. And organizations basically can pivot the quickly based on the market condition. So we can say in today's organizations, whether they are manufacturing units or retailers or service providers, inventory management is not just an operational task. It is a strategic function that can define the organization's growth, profitability, and long-term success. This is about the importance of the inventory management in today's organizations. Now let us discuss about the continuous review system. In this practice, one of the most serious limitations of the EOQ model is assumption of known and constant demand. Because in EOQ model, we discussed that there is a known and constant demand. But in real situation, do you think demand is never fixed or constant? That's why the application of EOQ model becomes very limited. And in order to formulate an inventory model that can handle the charging, flexible demand, and no stock out, materials manager is required to review the stock level continuously. And therefore, it is a continuous inventory review model is presented here. In a continuous review model, the stock position is monitored after each transaction or continuously. When a stock position drops to a predetermined order point or reorder point or a fixed quantity is placed on order. Since the order quantity is fixed, the time between the orders vary depending upon the random nature of demand. This continuous review inventory model is also known as the fixed order quantity inventory model. And after that, we will discuss about the materials requirement planning. In the materials requirement planning or MRP, it is a software-based production planning, an inventory control system used to manage the manufacturing processes. So here in the manufacturing requirement planning, or we can say MEP systems, were first introduced by George Plossland, Joseph Arklin in the late 1960s. And MRP system is intended to simultaneously meet the three objectives, like ensure the materials and products are available for the production and delivery to customers. It maintain the lowest possible level of inventory and plan manufacturing activities, delivery schedules, and purchasing the activities. And MEP is a tool to deal with these problems. It provides answer for several questions, such as what items are required, how many are required, and when are they required. So remember these: what items are required, how many, and when. What, how, and when. So MRP can be applied both to the items that are purchased from outside supplier and to sub-assemblies produced internally that are components of more complex items. Then MRP table. To create the MRP of an independent demand, we need the demand of the end item or independent item and its bill of materials. Demands of independent items are calculated using the various inventory management models, which will be discussed earlier already. We have discussed. Now, let us know what are the different distribution requirement planning. Distribution requirement planning. The distribution requirement planning is a powerful, sophisticated tool for improving the distribution operations, which emphasizes on multiple distribution system, taking into consideration the characteristics of each market. So it is a system that links the production process or a wholesale label of inventory to other inventory labels positioned further down in the distribution channel. It relies on forecast at the lowest level in the distribution network and in order to derive inventory demand at all higher levels. So distribution requirement planning is the application of MRP logistics to distribution of the inventories. So distribution requirement planning, we can say this is a powerful sophisticated tool for improving the distribution of the operations. And it is a system which links the production process, and also it is positioned further down in the distribution channels. The major points of distinction between the DRP and MRP. The DRP system deals with the finished goods inventory, whereas the MRP deals with the dependent demand items for production of the finished goods. In other side, you can say MRP system generally operates in a demand situation, which is defined and controlled by the enterprise. Whereas DRP operates in an independent environment of on certain consumer demand, which is not in the control of the enterprise. Another difference is these bills of materials are basically used in the MEP, whereas bills of MRP, whereas the bills of distributions are used in DRP. DRP uses the time-based order point with logic to determine the network replacement of the requirements, while MRP applies the time-based order logic to sub-assemblies and components of the products for manufacturing the bills of material network. Understood? DRP is an impulsion process from the lowest levels of the distribution network to the central distribution center, whereas MRP is an explosion process from the master production schedule to the detailed scheduling of the component replenishment. DRP systems are intended to link the production process to other inventory levels positioned further down in the distribution channel. But in other words, we can say DRP system relies on forecast at the lowest level in the distribution network in order to derive the inventory demand at all higher levels. So we can say generally it requires that our different levels of channel be linked electronically with the high level of inventory managers to have high visibility of the demand, inventory assets, and planned reorders for all lower level inventory customers. Now, let us know what are the logics of DRP. The DRP places emphasis on scheduling rather than ordering. But inventory items are not replenished unless there are future requirements to be met. And DRP anticipates the future requirements by forward planning at all levels of a distribution network. The periods of potential shortage can be identified early enough to develop the alternative plans. It can predict the problems and provide the visibility to the distribution network. And the basic logic of DRP is as follows. What are the basic logics? From the forecast at local distribution centers, it calculates the time-based net requirements, which indicates when the stock level, that is the scheduled receipts and projected on hand from the previous period, will be consumed by the gross requirements. And it creates a planned order receipt for the net requirements quantity in the period of net requirements. It calculates the planned order release date by offsetting the planned order receipt date by the lead time. So in other words, the stock must be ordered one lead time prior to its need. It revises the projected on hand quantity at the end of each period. And for a given period, projected on hand is equal to projected on hand of the prior period plus scheduled receipts plus planned order receipts minus the gross requirements. Please remember this. The planned order release quantity becomes a gross requirement in the same time period for the parent supply center at the next higher level of the distribution network. So, in this system, we can say, let us know about the ABC inventory management. What is that ABC inventory management system? The ABC inventory management system is a method used to classify the inventory items based on their importance, value, or impact on overall inventory cost. So it helps prioritize the inventory management efforts where it matters most. It is based on the Pareto principle, that is 80/20 rule, meaning a small percentage of items often account for a larger percentage of the value. And in this ABC inventory management, the inventory is divided into three categories. One, some are A categories, which has high value items with low frequency of sales and usage. That are the critical to the business. There is an example, we can say only 10 to 20% of the items but account for 7 to 80% of the inventory value. Another is tight control needed. Frequent review, accurate records, strong forecasting is required for the A category items. Next, B category items or B items. This has some moderate value. And these items with the medium frequency of the usage. For example, 30% of the items, but about 50 to 20% of the inventory's values. Next is your moderate control. We can say there is a control is not should not be tied as a category. It is a moderate control is required. Regular monitoring is required. Then comes to C category items. Here there is a low value items with high frequencies of usage. Value is low, but high frequency of the usage. 50 to 60% items are there, but only 5% of the inventory is values. See, here in one side the inventory values decreases, but in other side that is increases. How many items? And simple controls for this, there is a simple control is required. There must be bulk ordering. There is lower tracking efforts is required for the A, B, C categories. Now the question arises among us: what is the purpose behind the ABC inventory management? Here there is a prioritized efforts where they have the most financial impact. And it improves the inventory turnover and reduce the holding costs. Here it is optimize the stock control. It avoids the stock outs for important items, and it enhances the decision making about the purchasing, stocking, and audits. In this ABC inventory management, just see the steps to implement the ABC system. What are the different steps? First is identify and list all inventory items. First we have to identify which are the different inventory items, and we have to prepare a list. After that, calculate the annual consumption of the value for each item. That means cost plus quantity used. And there must be sort items in descending order of their consumption value. Then after that, we have to sort the items in descending order. Then we have to calculate the cumulative percentage for items and total value. You have to calculate that cumulative percentage. After that, we can classify into A, B, and C groups based on the thresholds. After that, set a control policy for each group. For A category, for B category, and C groups. There must be a control policies there. And then after that, there is a just-in-time system. Basically, it is another important technique, just-in-time system. It was only the Taichi Ono of Toyota Motor Corporation in Japan who coined the just-in-time concept in 1950s. And he is widely known as the father of JIT, or just-in-time concept. And now we are just uh, reading that, we are just learning that, what is that just-in-time? And claims that it is needed of the hour to develop a system for manufacturing some small quantities of different kinds of automobile to increase the customer responsiveness and decrease the cost. So just-in-time system is a practice of reducing the inventory levels by scheduling the materials to arrive just as they are needed in the production process. So here in just-in-time, we can say in this just-in-time inventory system, it is a management strategy where materials, parts, and products are received or produced only when needed. And the goal is to minimize the inventory cost and reduce the waste, improve the efficiency and production speed. Here there is a right material, we can say just in time tails. In the overall, we can say right material at the right time in the right quantity. Material right, time in right, and quantity should be right. Just in time focuses on that. And if you can say what are the key features of the just in time, there is a low inventory levels. At almost it is zero stock store, we can say, and there is a frequent small deliveries are there from suppliers. Strong supplier relationship, there must be quick, reliable and deliveries. Their focus on the quality, defects can halt the production. Another is highly synchronized production. Every step is tightly timed. All are synchronized. So all these we have discussed the different techniques or models of the inventory management. And you know, the inventory management has a lot of importance in today's or in 21st century organizations. And in today's fast-paced and competitive business environment, inventory management plays a critical role in ensuring the organizational success. And effective inventory management directly impacts the company's operational efficiencies and customer satisfaction and financial performance. One is your ensures the optimal stock levels. It prevents the overstocking. That means which ties up the capital and increase the storage cost. It avoids the stockouts, which can lead to lost sales and unhappy customers. It balances the supply with the demand more effectively, and it improves the cash flows. Inventory is a major investment, and efficient management, it frees up the working capital, which ultimately reduces the unnecessary expenditure on excess inventory, which leads to the better liquidity. Third is it enhances the customer satisfaction. Timely availability of the products leads to faster fulfillment of the customer orders. Ultimately, it maintains the consistent product supply, building customer trust and loyalty. Then boost of the operational efficiencies. It streamlines the order processing, storage and distributions. It reduces the wastage, spoilage and obsolescence, especially in industries dealing with perishable or rapidly changing goods, like you can say the electronics items or the fashion items. Another is your facilitates the accurate forecasting and planning. A proper inventory management can facilitate the production planning, then procurement strategies and sales promotion. Next is your minimize the cost. Cuts down storage, insurance, and security cost by maintaining the lean inventory. It helps to recognize the better deals with the suppliers through the planned purchases. And it enhances the supply chain management. You know, after post-pandemic or in the post-pandemic era, it enables the better coordination with the supplier logistics partners. It also helps the companies respond quickly to supply chain disruptions. Another most important is it strengthens the decision making process, strategic decision. Real time inventory data supports the strategic decisions on expansion, diversification, and new production launches. And we can conclude that in today's organization, whether there are manufacturing units, there are some retailer units, or service providers, there must be inventory management is not just an operational task. I'm repeatedly telling today, it is a strategic function that can define the organization's growth, profitability, and long-term success. Here, the in JIT or just in time, we are discussing what are the benefits of the JIT. It reduces the inventory holding cost. That means it warehouses, insurance, and depreciations. It reduces that costs. It also minimizes the waste, expired, obsolete, or damaged goods. It minimizes. Then faster response to customer demand. It responds very quickly to the demand of the customers. Another is it improves the cash flow. So here money is not tied up in large inventories. Then better product quality. How it will be better? Because of the problems are not noticed immediately. These are the different benefits of JIT. But there is some challenges of just in time. What are the challenges? One is suppliers delays can halt the production. If supplier will delay, what happens? The production will be stopped. And there is no buffer stock means risk if demand spikes suddenly. Demand spikes suddenly. In case of natural disasters, strikes, transport issues, there is a big trouble occurs in the just-in-time technique. It needs the very good forecasting and demand planning. Just-in-time always needs. It is a very good forecasting and demand planning is required in just-in-time. Now I am giving one of the real-life example. Toyota is the most famous example. Toyota pioneered the just-in-time in their production system after World War II. And they received the parts only hours before they are needed on the assembly line. So it made them faster, more efficient, and cheaper than many American automakers at that particular time. This is the impact of the just-in-time. Here, we can say today we have discussed the inventory management system in different parameters, different items, different models, different techniques we have discussed. And I am just recalling all these things which we have discussed today. One is in the introduction of the inventory management, I have already told the inventory is the stock of many material on hand at a given time. And inventory management is the system that companies use to store, source, and sell inventory for both the raw materials and finished goods. There are different components of the inventory management are like stock tracking, ordering, warehousing, forecasting, industry valuation, risk management, etc. These are the different basic components. And different methods are we have already discussed. One is your just-in-time, economic quantity, then your ABC analysis, what is door shipping, everything we have discussed. And there are different benefits of the good management, inventory management, like good inventory management reduces the cost. Which cost? The storage cost, spoilage, and insurance cost. It reduces. And good inventory management improves the cash flow. It improves, enhances the customer satisfaction. It enhances the customer satisfaction. And overall, it boosts overall efficiency and scalability. After that, we have discussed the purpose of the inventory. In purpose, we have discussed there are different important purposes are there. One is to protect against the uncertainties. Second is to allow the economic production and purchase. Third is to cover the anticipated changes in demand or supply and to provide for transit. These things we have discussed in the purpose. After that, we have discussed the types of inventory cost. There are different costs are incurred, different costs involved in the inventory management. Among them, one is your item cost. And this cost is buying or producing the individual inventory items, basically. It is actually expressed as a cost per unit and multiplied by the quantity procured and produced. Then in ordering cost, we can say it is associated with the ordering a batch or a lot of items. And ordering cost does not depend on the number of items ordered. It is assigned to the entire batch. Then another is your carrying cost. This cost or holding cost is associated with keeping items in inventory for a period of time. And the holding cost is typically charged as a percentage of rupee value per unit type. And for an example, a 10% annual holding cost means that it will cost 10% to hold 1 unit of inventory for a year. And another cost is cost of obsolescence, deterioration, and loss. Its cost should be assigned to items that have a high risk of becoming obsolete. And the higher the risk, the higher the cost. And perishable products should be charged with the deterioration cost when the item deteriorates over time. For an example, a packaged food and fruits and medicines, this happens. Next comes to stock out cost. The stock out cost reflects the economic consequence of running out the stock. Then we have discussed the economic order quantity. It is an optimal quantity for minimizing the total material cost. The total material cost includes the ordering cost, carrying cost, and stock out cost under the various conditions. And in EOQ, the purpose of EOQ is to find the right balance between the ordering cost and the holding cost. And the formula for EOQ is 2ds by h root. Then D here stands for demand rate, S stands for ordering cost per order, H stands for holding cost per order. And one problem we have already discussed. Then we discussed the continuous review system. In this practice, basically in continuous review system, it is one of the most serious limitations of the EOQ model. And that's why the application of the EOQ model becomes very limited. And in order to formulate an inventory model that can handle the changing, flexible demand, non-stock out materials manager is required to review the stock level continuously. Then the materials requirement planning. This planning is a software-based production planning and inventory control system used to manage the manufacturing process. It is in this system were introduced first by George Postland, Joseph Eichlin in the late 90s. And the objectives are very clear. It ensures the materials and products are available for production and delivery to the customers. MRP can be applied both to the items that are purchased from outside supplier and to sub-assemblies. Then we have discussed the MRP table, and also after that we have discussed the distribution requirement planning. Here it is a powerful sophisticated tool for improving the distribution operations which emphasize on multiple distribution system, taking into consideration the characteristics of each market. And it is a system that links the production of the process to other inventory level of position or further down in the distribution channel. And after that, we have discussed the major points of difference between DRP and MRP. And after that also, we have discussed the logics of DRP. And the basic logic for DRP is like there is a form forecast at local distribution centers. It calculates the time-phased net requirements. It creates a planned order receipt for the net requirements quantity. It calculates the planned order release date. It revises the projected on-hand quantity at the end of each period. And the planned order release, the quantity becomes a gross requirement in the same time period for the parent supply center at the next higher level of the distribution network. Then we have discussed one of the important technique, that is ABC inventory management. In the ABC inventory management, it follows the Pareto principle, that is 80/20 rule. That means a small percentage of items of an account for a larger percentage of the value. And here in ABC inventory management technique, it has been divided the items into three categories, or inventory is divided into three categories. One is A category, then is B category, and the third is C category items. And the purpose of the ABC inventory management, it is prioritize the efforts where they have the most financial impact. It improves the inventory turnover and reduces the holding cost. It enhances the decision making about purchasing, stocking, and audits. Then there is a steps to implement the ABC system, like it identifies and lists all the inventory items. It calculates the annual consumption value for each items. It sort items in descending order of their consumption value. It calculates the cumulative percentage for items and total value. It classifies into A, B, and C groups based on the thresholds. It also sets the control policies for each group. Then we have discussed the just-in-time system. In the just-in-time system, it was only the tillage and ore of Toyota Motor Corporations. It has been introduced and in the 1950s, and he is widely known as the father of JIT concept. And here in JIT inventory system, it is a management strategy where the materials, parts, and products are received and produced only when the needed, not before. And the goal of the JIT, it is minimize the inventory cost, it reduces the wastage, and it improves the efficiencies and production speed. And there are some key features of the just-in-time. One is your low inventory levels. Almost we can say this is a zero stock store. And there is a frequent small deliveries from the suppliers occurs. And the relationship, there must be a strong relationship. That means there is a quick, reliable, and delivery is there. There is some focused on quality. Defects can halt some production. Then highly synchronized production systems. And here, in every step, there is a tightly timed systems are there. So this is the key features, and the benefits you can say there is a reduces the inventory holding cost, and it minimizes the waste, and it becomes faster response to the customer demand. It improves the cash flow, and better product quality is there. And after that, there must some challenges are there. The challenges like the supplier's delays can halt the production. If the supplier will delay, the production will be halted. And there will be no buffer stock, means there is a risk if the demand spikes suddenly. Unless and until we will keep the inventory properly, and if the demand will spike suddenly, it will increase suddenly, how we can handle that? And natural disasters like strikes, transport issues, creates a big trouble. And next is needs very good forecasting. Unless and until we can forecast a fish accurately, we cannot handle the JIT or just in time. And here, one of the real life example I'm just explaining, Toyota, you can take the example of Toyota. It is the most famous example, and it is pioneered the just in time in their production system after World War II. They receive the parts only hours before they are needed on the assembly line. It became the faster, more efficient, and cheaper than many American automakers at that time, particular time. And this was about our point of discussion about the inventory management. And inventory management, in a nutshell, we can say this is a system which companies use to source, store, and sell inventory both for raw material and finished goods. And in this chapter, we have discussed different important models, different important techniques like ABC technique, just-in-time technique, economic order quantity technique, and inventory management. We can say it is a process of ordering, storing, tracking, and controlling. And there is the different key components already we have discussed. That one is your stock tracking, one is your ordering, warehousing, forecasting, then inventory valuations and risk managements are there. And after that, we are also discussed there are different benefits of the good inventory management. That it reduces the cost, it improves the cash flow, it improves the customer satisfaction, and also it boosts the overall efficiencies and scalability of the organizations of firms. So this was about our discussion point in the inventory management. I hope all of you must have understood all these concepts, the inventory management, the concepts, different techniques, different models, and also different practical example you have understood. And thank you for this unit. Thank you all.